Dungeon Master Burnout. A key cause of games falling to pieces is when the DM runs out of steam, for one reason or another, and can no longer run games at the same level, frequency, or using the same amount of passion. The DM is responsible for many intensive demands. Planning, organising, leading sessions, and keeping up with it consistently can exhaust a DM's creativity, interest, and capacity for running sessions, causing it to die a slow, and painful death. Burnout can be hard to spot. Just like in real life, not stupid TTRPG blech, icky life, but a lot of the symptoms and signs are the same. Lacking interest in planning or running D&D games, being irritable with the game and or players, reduced creativity, insert Lord of the Rings 3 Revelations, seeming physically or mentally exhausted when thinking about D&D, or while playing, or chronically avoiding planning sessions or actually planning to do the sessions themselves and save a date. Just like that one player avoids making emotionally available characters. And you know exactly who you are. Either way, keeping an eye out for your DMs and understanding what burnout might look like can help you to support them. Dungeon Master Burnout can be caused by many strains on the creativity and mental tenacity of the DM. And a lot of the time, these strains come from within. Over-preparing, while it might seem would help by being prepared enough for the session and one's own high expectations of what you can provide, can mean that someone spends hours upon hours upon hours on campaigns, encounters, and world building, and doing the same task over and over again. That is insanity. Or at least it leads to it. Over-preparing can also lead to creative stagnation. Coming up with, or ripping off from popular media, unique and innovative ideas to keep sessions fresh can wring you drier than when SpongeBob was in Sandy's Dome. I mean, there's only so many times you can run The Witcher abridged before someone gets tired, whether that's the DM or the players. But in all seriousness, at some point those creative juices can just stop flowing and you get a migraine just thinking about session ideas. While these things come primarily from the inside, they can be exacerbated by external sources. As I discussed in another video, high player expectations, or at least the perception of them, can lead DMs to both over-preparing and creative stagnations. As DMs rise to meet their own or their players' expectations, burnout becomes more and more likely. Finally, having to manage interpersonal conflict can immediately burn a DM out. As Joe Cat once said, the DM becomes the babysitter of the group, and if any conflict arises, the onus can sometimes fall upon the DM to resolve it. This can socially, emotionally, and mentally burn you out and leave you without the resources to then plan and actually play the game. There are loads of ways you can alleviate the causes of burnout and delegate roles and responsibilities to other members of the group to help share the insane load of DMing. Here are some that might help. Having daily routines surrounding D&D can spread out the preparation and planning of a session to help maintain a healthy work-life DM balance. Instead of cramming all of your session prep into the 15-minute drive, one hand on your laptop and the other trying to stop your mountain of D&D books toppling over. However, there's a bit of hidden knowledge I traded my soul for, but never actually used myself. You can spread the prep over the week or two prior to the session instead. I know. I personally will never do this because I will only do things if the deadline is right around the corner and I have enough caffeine and sleep deprivation to kill a horse. And I bet more than a few other D&D players do the same. So let's move on to some real tips. Streamlining strategies. Planning doesn't need to be a complex game of mental arithmetic all the time. Use the resources and strategies that already exist to make planning easy peasy squeeze the lemon. For making and fleshing out your dungeons, you can use the 5-room dungeon, ChatGPT. I wouldn't use it all the time, just for some ideas and to flesh out things for prep. All of Waldo's generators, official D&D random generator tables, traps, etc. And you could also rip content from one-shots, DMD modules, and homebrew content that you've purchased from reputable DMs and sources. For example, I get the Bestiarum miniatures on Patreon, and they often come with modules and adventures to run with the minis. With experience, you can also just get used to your processes, and they become quicker and quicker and quicker over time. I can write a quest in an hour, but to tell you the truth, making settlements, NPCs and these overarching arcs and world building, I find a bit more challenging. So those are the things that I usually end up neglecting. But with streamlining, it'll only get easier. And there's loads of apps out there to help me. If you're enjoying the video so far, please leave a like and subscribe for more D&D content. Leave a comment below letting everyone know what your top tips for avoiding burnout are. I'm sure we'll all be able to help each other out. Delegating responsibilities. You've all heard of the player tropes, things like the rules lawyer, the 500-page backstory, and the legendary snack bringer. Burnout can be alleviated by leaning into these roles within and outside of sessions, using the strengths of each of the elements to your advantage, like Thanos with his Infinity Stones. I recommend this anyway to increase the buy-in into your world, but those people who write 500-page backstories can be amazing when properly guided. Why write up the whole lore of a settlement all on your own when you can harness the powers of the novel writer within your group? Before you start the campaign, tell your players that you want their input into the world, the towns, the organisations, important individuals and key areas that are related to their backstory, and tell them to go into as much detail as they possibly can, while also agreeing to let go of some of the nitty-gritty details if you need to change things to slot all the puzzle pieces of the world together. That can take the onus off you for numerous aspects of the world building or your homebrew world before they even come up in-game. This also serves the purpose of increasing the buy-in of your players by having their creations be integral to the world, and you can please the authors among your players as well by letting them write those novels they've always wanted to. You can delegate the job of rule hunting to the rules lawyer, don't forget Rule Zero though, and the job of saving dates to the group at large. When those creative burners run dry, it can make it really, really tricky and boring to find the joy in D&D prep. As I've said before, there's only so many times you can run Lord of the Rings Abridged or The Witcher. You can reignite your passion for D&D by exploring a wider variety of content. This is especially useful while you're actually prepping, I find. I experienced burnout quite recently, and one of the ways that I got out of it was by watching the Witcher series for the first time ever. It gave me a breadth of new content to draw inspiration from. Ideas for new organisations, quests and ways that the NPCs might interact with the party and the worlds. These pieces of media can take many forms: games, books, movies, TV series, comics, other campaigns, anime, art. Spread your net wide and set time aside to explore new content and media that might differ from what you typically watch. If you're looking for some places to start, the Witcher series is excellent, at least what I watched of it. The Wheel of Time book series, the Six of Crows book series, and the Souls games and Elden Ring. Castlevania. All of these are things that I've read recently that have allowed me to find inspiration in new places. Sometimes burnout gets to the point where no matter what you put in place, you remain ashes with no phoenix being reborn. It may well be the case that you need to take a break from DMing or D&D as a whole to recuperate and then come back with renewed vigour and energy. If you don't want to stop playing altogether, maybe take a bit of vacation for a couple of weeks or a month or so. Or if you can't not get your fix of D&D at all, and your players don't mind tackling being a DM for a bit, they can take it in turns running some one-shots or small campaigns in a kind of pass the baton style while you recover. A happy medium that I found works is to have the main campaign with the forever DM, and then each player can take it in turns running one-shots or pass the baton style episodic games, like contained episodes of one party's adventures. Sort of like Scooby-Doo, where there's no real overarching story to get bogged down in. This way, everyone still gets to hang out and play D&D, and the DM can have a chance at playing the game that everyone loves, while also recovering from that burnout. A win-win-win situation. One of the ways to help alleviate your workload is by making some cookie cutters for your dungeon production. Check out this video for an in-depth guide on the 5-room dungeon in D&D. It's really helpful for making amazing dungeons really, really quickly. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, comment your best tips down below, share with your burnt out DM or players, and subscribe for more D&D videos. And I will see you next time.